As we mentioned before, we're celebrating championships here tonight.
Championship Saturday, baby.
That's right. You know, Dorman won their fourth straight championship last night against Dutch Fork. But we have another state champion on the program today. A four-time state championship, even though the state will only recognize 3, but we don't care. We know he won 4.
That's right.
Why? Because we said so.
That's right.
Anybody wants to argue with us? You can't.
High school league, man.
Come on, man. The kid's won 4.
Come on.
In 8th grade, he won it.
That's right.
The kid's a tank.
Tank.
We've known him for a long time. He's a tank. That's all I got to say. He hasn't broke my record, though, of pinning somebody in 0.2 seconds. Until he does that, I'm still better.
That's right. That's right.
But bringing our good friend on the image printing hotline, Chris Compton of the Byrnes High School wrestling team, a fantastic wrestler, as we said, has won 4 state championships. Chris, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Chris. So we want you to fill us in a little bit as well, because we talked to you last week, and, you know, wrestling, we understand how to get points and stuff like that, but we never fully understand like how the team aspect of it works. Every time I see a score or something, it just scratches my head. So before we get into this championship, can you explain how you win a match, like how the points accumulate and all that stuff, so that way I have a better understanding of what's actually going on in the wrestling event?
Yeah, so basically in a dual meet, depending on how you win, like your individual match is how many points you get for your team. So if you beat your guy by 7 or less points, then you get 3 points for your team.
Okay.
If you beat them between 8 to 14 points, you get 4 points.
Okay.
If you get a tech fall, which is like basically if you beat him by like 15 or more points, then it's 5 points. And then if you pin them, you get 6.
So you get a lot of 6 points for your team is what you're telling me here.
I try to.
But, you know, as we mentioned, you have won 4 state championships. You won your 4th one last Saturday. Just walk us through that, because, you know, I haven't seen the video yet, but I was talking to you last week, and, you know, it looked like you were in some trouble. Like,
I was there.
Like you even told me yourself, you going through your head, you were like, I might get upset here. And then you just put on your switch that you have that not a lot of people have and somehow flipped the tables around and won the match. Walk us through that championship. Really walk us through the whole state tournament. You know, I know you had to wrestle Friday and Saturday. Walk us through every one of your match if you can, and you know, give us your mindset as you won your 4th state championship.
So my first match, which was Friday, I think around like 12:30 or so, I wrestled the guy. He went to River Bluff, and I wrestled him twice this year so far up to that point. And so, you know, all I had to do was really wrestle smart and wrestle my best. And I knew like what he would do, and then I ended up pinning him and like winning that one. And then I moved on to the semifinals, which is like later in Friday night. And so I'd wrestled a guy from Fort Mill, which he was pretty good. And like I knew that if I made one mistake, that he could probably beat me. So I had to like be careful in what I did. And I ended up beating him, I think, 10-2 or so. And he was my closest match like the whole tournament. And he ended up getting 4th. And then so my mindset going into the finals was basically my game plan was stay to my stuff, you know, watch the big moves, because I knew that he was going to, you know, try to come out and try to like throw me or do something to put me on my back. And so I knew that if I wrestled my match and, you know, like my coaches say, push the pace. And, you know, if you wrestle at your pace, your match, then you should be fine. And so I did that. And so, you know, I was kind of going into the match kind of nervous because, you know, obviously it was a state finals match. And so I take him down. I make it 2-0. And then, so after the first period, it was 2-0. we go into the second period, and he chose bottom. And so I'm on top. I'm trying to, like, work a move. And then next thing I know, he, like I said, I had to watch for the big throws. I kind of forgot about it. And he, like, threw me. And next thing I know, I'm, like, on my side, about to go to my bag. In my head, I was like, oh, my God, I'm about to get upset right here. Terrible. I was like, and I just, like, looked up. And, like, the people on the side of the mat, like my dad and all of them, the look on their faces was hilarious. Cause, like, I thought they were about to pass out. And so I ended up, like, getting to my stomach, and then we ended up getting up and got out of bounds. And then I didn't look up the score just yet, but I thought I was down like 4-2 or 5-2 because I thought he got back points. But it turned out that he only got the reversal, and it was only 2-2. And so when I found out it was 2-2 and looked at the scoreboard, I was like, all right, I'm fine. You know, I've wrestled close matches this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, close matches doesn't really, bother me. And so I go on bottom, and, I get up, and I have them, or I get away, and I'm about to get a reversal. And, since he just kind of, like, almost put me on my back, I kind of, like, took that as, like, okay, you just didn't do that. Like, you're not going to do that. And I kind of just, like, put him in a move. I put him in a cradle and then pinned him. So.
You put him to sleep is what you told me? My goodness. Oh, my goodness. No,
he showed me the cradle, and I can see why the guy was pinned. That doesn't look very comfortable.
No.
So.
I'm actually familiar with that move, actually. In all
Are you really?
Yeah, I really am. I'm not even kidding this time.
Okay.
I am dead serious. Robbie used to wrestle, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got you.
So, yeah, I am familiar with that. But
Chris, I wanted to ask you, I think we've talked about it before. I think we talked about it last week. But I was there last week, and to be able to watch you wrestle, I mean, that's the quickest championship I've ever seen decided in my life. So again, congratulations on that. But I wanted to ask you, I'm looking out there as you guys are warming up, and it looks like there's 1 million people on the mat. And obviously knowing you, I can figure out where you are. And I see you, and everybody else is running around and hopping up and down and practicing their moves and everything else. And you're just kind of like pacing, just a slow walk back and forth. Can you take us through that when you get on the mat and you're getting close to where it's match time? And Matt, I don't know if you've ever been to a state finals, but they do like lights, and when they do big introductions when they bring in the wrestlers. Mm-hmm. And so can you kind of take us through the moments before the match, before the final match that you won state? What was your mindset as you were kind of pacing back and forth, and when you're standing in that tunnel and they have the lights and the little fog machine and they cut the lights off and they introduce you and the guy yells really loud, and the 3-time state champion, and they bring you in. How does that feel? Like, what's your mindset in those moments? Are you just simply focused and just ready to go, or
do you block it all out? Basically?
Yeah, do you block it all out?
Obviously, I try to stay focused, and I try to, think about like what I need to do, because the whole season it works up to that point,
right?
And so I'm just thinking, honestly, I kind of block everything out, and I try to not worry about anything else, because really nothing else matters except right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, just basically just focusing, and yeah.
Cool. Well, I want to ask you too. You were not alone up there at the state finals. You had a teammate of yours, David Hunsberger, who also won state. What is it like to be alongside of a teammate and for both of you guys to win state?
Trying to find the right words. It's pretty cool because you get to see, like, when you win it, it's like you're all excited.
Yeah.
But then you see, like, one of your other teammates who also accomplished the same thing as you, and you're like, you're just like excited for him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the guy that he beat was actually a 3-timer,
Oh,
and
wow.
so he like had like a major upset and stuff. I remember at the upper state tournament after he beat, because he also beat him at upper state too, and after he beat him at upper state, like everybody was excited, and like I remember I ran up to my dad and I was like, dang, I'm more excited for him than I am myself. Like, I mean, it's just like one of those things where having somebody alongside yourself, you know, because I mean, since he's been there before, like me and him could like practice moves in the wrestling room, and you know, we like when we drill together, it's like it like helps a lot more knowing that like somebody else is in the same position as you, and they know like what it's like to be there.
Well, Chris, you know, we wanted to congratulate you again. What you're doing is remarkable, and now, you know, you got to go for your 5-peat, you know? How many people get to say that? You still got to break my
Not a
record,
lot.
though. I've been challenging you since I've known you, but, you know, you were probably, what, 3rd grade when I first met you? It's been
Something
that
like
long.
that.
That's
Yeah,
what's
it's
crazy.
been a while.
I mean, it's been 7-8 years already. You don't think it goes that fast, but
I feel old
you know,
now.
I always told you got to beat my record, 0.2 seconds. There's no excuse. Got to put them on the mat, all right?
Yes, sir.
Kurt, I appreciate you getting up and joining us. Congratulations to you and your teammates as well. The success that you guys had this season. I know we'll be talking to you again next year when you're back at that state championship level. No doubt about it.
We'll see you in 24 hours.
Yeah, we'll also see you tomorrow. Yeah. All right, Chris. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
That was Chris Compton of the Byrnes wrestling team, a state championship for him and his teammate as well. And you know, Chris has been wrestling a long time, and you know, we didn't really get into that in this, but we know him personally as well, and we know the kind of work that he puts in.
Yep.
Like, this kid lives and breathes wrestling. He's always has. He has a ethic, like no other. You know, like I'm telling you guys, like he was like in 3rd grade when I first met him. The kid gets up at like 5:30 in the morning and works out like all the time. Like he just lives and breathes it, and he deserves all the success he's going. The kid has a bright future.
Yeah, absolutely.
A very humble kid, just incredible, and the success that he's having is he earns every little bit of it. And just check him out, because I'm telling you,
Something else.
you look at him, man, he goes on that mat. He's a monster.
Yeah.
He is an absolute monster.
And I mean, I'll add something to it. I mean, just being there last week, number one, if you've never been to any kind of state final that has to do with wrestling, it's really neat because there's so much going on, but at the same time, you find yourself pulling for kids you don't even know. And the crowd is obviously really into it as well. And so it's just a really neat experience. And to be able to watch him compete at the highest level, at the high school level, and to be able to win is neat, and it's really neat to be a part of. So really do appreciate Chris coming on with us today. But with that, we're going to take a break, and after our break, we will close out the show. We'll be done with
One more
our
second.
number.